Hi guys, very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the video number 382, and in this video we are actually going to discuss, we're going to make a project using the Excel user forms, and we're going to connect that with the Access database. So in this particular video, which is the part 3, we're going to import the data from the Access table, and we're going to have that data imported in the Excel, but using the Excel user forms. And now if you're wondering that why actually this is the part 3, is because I have already uploaded 2 parts which has nothing to do with this video, but you can watch that if you really want to understand that how the connection, the integration happens between Excel and Access, because there we use the DO library. Here we're going to use the ADODB library, which is the ActiveX data object library, and it works in a very different manner. It doesn't work like a DO, right? So you can go to the channel, and you see that here you have so many playlists over here. If you're familiar with my channel, then obviously nothing new about it. If you're watching the channel for the first time, or you have just joined, these are the 44 different playlists which you can see here, right? So you need to go to the Excel VBA connecting MS Access from Excel, and this is the video number 380 and 381 which you can watch. Very interesting. And here we have controlled everything from the Excel user form, right? But this is all using the DO library, not the ADO one, right? DO is a direct is data access library, which works in a different way, and the one which you're going to use, ActiveX ADO, that is going to work in a different way, right? So what we have done so far in this part 1 and part 2, I want to show you. So if you can see that we have created here a form, right? Now this form, what it does, the moment you click on the import book name, what happens, it opens the database which is on my desktop, and there is a table in that desktop, in that the database, which is DB. DB is the name of database, and it goes in the table called bookstore, and it fetches the information, it collects the book name, and it publishes those the book names in this combo box. You can see here right now it is empty. So if I click here, I'll show you. So right now I'm not able to run that code because of the reason that actually I just uncheck those 2 libraries. So let me just show you actually. So these are the 2 libraries which we used. One is the Microsoft DO object library, and there is another one which is called the Microsoft Access. This is the library. Let me just click that, right? I have explained all this in those 2 previous videos. So if you just click here and you click on the import book name, you see that the macro is gonna run, and it will open the Access. There we go, the Access opens and then closes, and this is what you get to see here in the combo box now, right? And just in case if you want to update something, for example, you want to update Excel VBA, you want to change Excel VBA into advanced Excel, okay, then you can click on the update record. So what it will do, it will directly go in the Access table, which is this is on my desktop, and it will update the records there. Let me just show you. You have here, you can see that Excel VBA coming. So the moment I'm going to run this code now, Excel VBA, and I want to update it to the advanced Excel, and I just click on this, the update record, it should update all the Excel VBA records. You can see that the database opened, and we have done the changes. Now the message box comes, data updated, Access gets closed, and if you go back to the DB, the Access, so you will find there the values are getting updated now. You can see here that we got the advanced Excel, we got the advanced Excel. Perfect. Now this is already we have done, and the same process we're going to repeat again, guys, okay, but with the different technology, the ADOs. So how to do that? So let us go ahead and let us discuss about that. Now first of all, I want to tell you that basically DO and ADO, these are the 2 terminologies we use whenever you want to exchange the information, right? Whenever you want to connect the Excel with the Access or SQL Server or any database, right, you use the DO or ADO. Well, while connecting it with the other applications like SQL Server or Oracle, people use the ADO, right? It is more flexible, it is more powerful, right? But as long as connecting the Excel with the Access is concerned, you can simply use the DO or ADO. I have already talked about this DO library. This time we're going to talk about the ADO, right? So let's go to the Visual Basic. Let me insert a module, and here we are going to write the program. right? So to do the ADO, what you need to do is you need to first of all let me uncheck both these libraries. That's the first thing I'm gonna do, right? You just go ahead and find out where is your Microsoft ActiveX, the library. That's the one. Microsoft Access ActiveX Data Object Library 6.1. You can choose the other versions as well, but I prefer choosing the higher one. Okay, so I'm just going to click OK. Now this library is on, and now what we are going to do is, as you can see, I have here this database, which is db.accd. Just in case if you haven't watched those two videos, I'd like to tell you that we have a table called bookstore, and we want to target this bookstore. I want to fetch this advanced Excel SQL dummies, all this the field, basically the book name over here. I want to export those values here. Let me just delete that first of all, right? Or maybe we can go in the new sheet. I can go in this new sheet and we can export the information here, book name, and that's it, right? Now how to do that, right? Now in this particular case, because I have already created my user form here, okay, so I'm not really gonna create the user form again, because you can go ahead and watch those two previous videos. You will understand how we created it. Let's save the time. I will just simply make the macro. I'll simply prepare the code for you, and then you can connect it with the these user form buttons, right? So what is the first thing I want to do? So guys, when you work with the ADO, basically you don't have to open the database, right? If you remember the previous code here, what we were doing is we were setting up the new application, and we were getting that the database open, because we were using the DAO technology, right? In the case of the ADO technology, what you need to do is you just need to set up the connection. That's it. You can set up the connection and you don't have to open the database, right? So the first thing, let us go ahead and fetch the information, import records. Obviously this is going to be a code, and using the ADO, right? And make sure that your library should be activated, right? If somebody doesn't have this library 6.1, they can use the lower version as well, right? So the first thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my connection. So to do that, you use any variable, for example CNX as. Now you don't use the DAO here, you're going to use the ADO DB, right? ActiveX Data Object Library. So this is how we use it. We're going to set up the connection. Now your connection obviously is going to be new because you're going to open the new database, so that's how you write the line. Okay, now there are some standard lines which you always keep in mind while writing this ADO code. To set up the connection, you have to provide the provider. The provider is basically your access engine, database engine, right? If you're using 2007 or any version upper to that, you use the ACE engine. If you're using the 2003, you will have to use the JET engine. You can simply Google it, that what is the access database engine in 2003 version. You will get to know that. But I know that most of us now, almost everybody, nobody uses 2003. Actually, it's very outdated, right? We have now 2016, and they are so good. The database, has undergone so many beautiful changes. So we have many new things coming in the 2016, 2013, 2010. So I hope all of you are using at least the 2007 version, if not any other higher version. So let us set up the connection. So this is what you will do. You will provide the provider. Provider is your database engine, and that's we're going to write here. This is how you write. It is the Microsoft. You can also Google it. You will get to see that, right? It's ACE engine, and then OLE DB.12.0. That's what you're going to write here. Okay, the provider. Once you provide the engine, then what you need to do is you need to set up the connection string. So that's what we're gonna now in the setup connection string. Actually, you write the path. The path means that you write which database basically you want to connect that, right? So I just go to my desktop and I right click here. I click on the property, and we're gonna pick up this particular piece. I just copy this, press OK, and come back here and just write the path here, right? And there has to be no space, so I just remove the space here. That's it. So you have now your connection string as well. Now the next thing which you would like to do is you would like to set up this connection. So you're going to use the this open basically, right? So connection cnx.open will set up the connection. So your when I say connection will set up, that means that your Excel is going to now talk to your this database, which is db.accdb, which is on my desktop, right? So now what is the next thing you want to do? Well, the next thing, once you have set up the connection, you will define that in that the access database, which table you want to target. So I talked about this in the previous video also. You have to use the record set. So you're going to use this dim rs as ado db.record set. Okay, set rs equals 2. Now what you want to do, you would like to open that record set. Now what is a record set? Let me repeat myself. I talked about this in the two videos also, the previous videos. Record set basically it's a set of records. It's a multiple you can say that multiple number of records which are available in the access in the form of table or query. So basically it's just an information. A bunch of information is there which the VBA is going to keep it in its memory, and you can access those information, those fields, those records one by one, right? So now what is your record basically? What is your record set in this case? So your record set in this case is going to be obviously the table which you will actually open, and that's going to be here. Let me show you. Let me just open this database. Now this is entire table is going to be your record set, because this has a bunch of records. This is the first record, this is the second record, and this is the third record, and this is the fourth record, and so on, right? That's how it's going to work. So we have a table called bookstore, and this is what we need to actually define it. Okay, so let me close that again, and so first of all we'll just write here new ADODB record set. So we have a new record set. That's how you're gonna write. And now we're gonna open this record set, right? This entirely works in a different way, not like the DO. Once you open this record set, it asks you for the source and the active connection, and of course the cursor type, which can be of different types, like a DB snapshot or forward only. There are a lot of cursor types. Well, we're not going to talk about the cursor types because that's not really required here. We will focus on the two things. One is the source and the active connection. Now guys, when I say source, it means the table name. So you know that your table name actually is bookstore, which belongs to db.accdb, right? This information we have already mentioned, that which database we are going to talk about. So this bookstore will be found in this table. Now what is the next thing? The next thing is the connection, right? So you're gonna write the connection. What is your active connection? So your actually active connection is going to be CNX, okay, which is already opened, right? So I just press enter. Let me press enter, and let me just remove these brackets here. Yeah, so that's how we have made the code. The connection will be set up. Now once the record set is going to be open, what you want to do? Well, then the next thing comes, which is that I want to insert the records. I want to actually take those records over here, right? So we can do one thing. We can simply write here that the same loop which we have written in the previous two videos also, guys, the video number 380, where we talked about the DO technology. So the same thing we can write here as well. So we're going to write here do while not record set the file, okay, and then we're going to write here the loop. We're going to run this loop like this, in this way. So you want to have all the information coming here. So you know that your sheet 1 is the one where we actually should go. So I'm going to write here sheet 1 and then cells, and then R is a variable which we will declare for the row. The value has to be equals to which value we need. Well, whatever the field name you have, and my field name actually is bookstore. Book name, I guess it's a book name actually, the field name. Let me just go back to the database and let's just open that. This is my database DB, and in the DB database I have a bookstore table, and in the table I have a field which is called the book name, which I want to actually import there, right? So book name is field. Just wanted to actually ensure that I'm using the right word. All right, so then you need to go to the next row, obviously. So we're going to have the row number as 1, and we need to declare the R as well. So let's declare the R as well. dim r as long, and we're going to start the r from 2, okay, because 1 actually has the header. That's it. So I guess we are fine with this. We can run this. Let's go ahead and run the code, and then after, at the end of this code, we're gonna close this record, and we're gonna also close the connection, right? Make sure that. Right, so let us run that. Now you won't see anything getting opened here. If you have watched my previous videos using the DO, we were able to see that access actually is getting opened. But guys, this is a different technology. Here, this connection string will set up everything. You see that connection is open, but you can't see that, but it is open in the memory, right? In the background, it is open. And now we're going to see that this record set open will open this bookstore, and the connection is already open. You can see here, if I just hover my mouse, I see that the provider is equals to Microsoft ACE, the same which I have written, right? User ID is also equals to admin, because I don't want to actually create any user ID or the password for that. So this is how, if I just let me show you, if I just can show this in the ad watch, and if it is visible, let me see that. Yeah, that's it. So let's just increase the width of this. This is very interesting, guys. Connecting, the way you connect the access with the Excel, it's actually very interesting. Now let me just give you some more space here. Let's see. Yeah, it's actually long syntax. You can see here, and I just give it more space. Let me further scroll it down, and that's it. I can't go further to this. I think that's the one. And so if I just click here, you can see that there are a lot of actually a big code written over here. First, the engine, the provider is written here, which is Microsoft ace.oledb, which is a data provider. That's what exactly we have used here. And then user ID is admin. Data source is the one which we have provided here, the data source, the one on the desktop. And then there are a lot of other things like mode, shade, deny, and so the code actually basically is running. You don't have to really worry about that. I just wanted to tell you that the connection actually is set up, and you can go through all this information. You can see that how basically the things are working here, right? So the connection is set up. So this is how basically your this ADO DB technology actually works, right? You could have written the entire stuff in here also. That's not the problem. You don't have to really write cnx.provider and then connection string and then open. You can write this in one line as well, right? Like you can see here, it's coming here. But I think this is the best way. You go step by step, right? So now let's have a look. So this is the first item. It's going to be published on the row number 1, and there we go. Another. So I guess the problem is that again I have done the mistake. It's coming advanced Excel because it is not moving to the next record, so you have to actually move it to the next also. That's it. Now if I run the code again, let me run the code here again. There we go. You can see here that it's coming. Perfect. So the looping remains the same. Even in the DO, it works the same way. The only thing is that here you set up the connection and everything, right? And this is how you open the record set. But if you go back to the DO, there what we do, we first open the database using this open current database command, and you could see the data actually opened in front of you, right? And then of course the loop remains the same. So it's all about how to set up the things. In the DO, you get the database opened, and in the ADO you actually set up the connection. You don't have to open it. That's basically the difference. So let me go back to that module 1. So this is how you can have your data coming here, and obviously now you want to show that data in the the form, which is, for example, I showed you this form. When I clicked import, it was coming here. So that you can do. So we can go ahead quickly, and we can, just in case if you haven't watched that video, let me just create that user form here. Or maybe I can do one thing. I can go back here in this user form. This is how we created this form. This is my combo box, this is my text box, and here I have written these two, the forms actually. So what I can do is, when you click on this and you go to it view code, what happens, this code actually should be replaced now. So we can simply copy this code, and let me just undo it. I can write the macro which is I have written here, which is this one. That macro was for the DO one. So I just go here and I write this one, right? And then so what will happen when you're gonna run this code? For example, let me insert the shape here. Let's do the same stuff here also. I'm just going to create a shape, and I go to the assign macro and form showing. That's my macro name actually. So now you see that what will happen when you're gonna click here, okay, and you see that there's nothing coming here. I click on the import book name, and I created this button with this event. Whenever this button gets clicked, it should go to the import record, and you know that this is going to run, and here you will have the entire data coming here. Better you first clear this as well, so that next time if you have a less data, the previous items should not be reflecting here, because it's always good to first remove these items and then to start again, import the new ones, right? So that you can do that. So once you have the data here, the connection gets closed, you're back on the B1 cell, and now this combo box will have the same value A22, A10. Enter, the macro finishes. If I just go here and I click here, you see that I get to see all the values here. So in this way, guys, you can create this ADO, right? Now let's go to the next topic. Now once you have selected this, and you're gonna click, you're gonna write here something, let's say HH, and you click on the update record. How to update the records in the access now, because these all items are coming from the access, right? So how to do that with the ADO, that's what we're gonna learn now, right? So I'm not gonna upload the part 4 for this, because I think we can discuss this right away here. So this is your module 1, and you can pause the video, you can have a look how it is done. So now what will happen, to update the records, I'm just going to copy the same code again, and I'm gonna paste it here, or maybe let me paste it in the new module, and I just paste it here, and let's rename this. I'm gonna write update. Okay, so everything remains same because the connection has to be set up. So till this line everything remains same, right? And once you have the setup connection made, you will have to update the records. So how are you going to update the records? Obviously the value which you have in your user form, that should go to your field called the book name. So we will write here if condition, the same condition which I have written in my video number this 381. So if the field name, the record set field name dot value is going to be equals to the value in my user form, which is user form 1 dot the combo box, which is this dot value, then what we need to do, then obviously we would like to update that value, right? So in that case, in this case, now what you will do is you will update the value. And guys, if I just go ahead and use the edit command, you see that edit is not here, right? Like in the do command where we made this code do update, you remember this, we prepared this rs.edit, because .edit actually is not available in the ADO. That you need to remember. So let's go back to the module 2, and so without using the rs.edit, I just simply write here that the field name is book name. If it is equals to my combo box value, then it should be equals to actually my user form control, which is the text box text book dot value, because there you will write what you want to do, what change you want to do, else and if. That's it, guys. And then in the last you can of course give a prompt as well. I mean the macro is finished. So basically this part remains the same, there's no change, right? That remains the same. It's all about the connection, how you set up the connection, right? Now if I just run this code, let us see if we are able to do that or not. So let me put the break code here. Let me show you how the loop is going to run. So I run this, and I click on the import. Let me remove the break code from here, and let's just run this quickly. There we go. let's have a look. I have everything here. Let us say we want to change this dummies to dummy. Okay, I click on the update record, user type not defined. So what's wrong? Okay, so the problem is actually it's calling a different macro. I'm so sorry, this is the previous macro which we recorded. I should have actually used this macro, right? So I go back to the user form, and here this update code should be now update record using the DO. This was the previous, I mean in the previous video, we created the different macros using the DO. So now it should be ADO obviously. And that's why it was giving the error user type not defined, because obviously you haven't activated the DO library here. So it was looking for the DO because these codes, these are the codes. Here we used a different technology. We use the DAO, right? But here in the current module we are using the ADODB. That's the difference basically. So let's go ahead and run the code again. I'm gonna hit on the book name. There we go. So I think the book names are coming here. All right, so I select the dummies and I'm gonna write here dummy. I hope you're enjoying this session, right? And I think enjoyment can be increased if you go ahead and watch the previous 2 videos as well. It is going to make a lot of sense to you then, right? And in fact, it's not about only that I'm trying to have more clicks on my videos. It's nothing like that. You know me, if you're following my channel, right? I try to give you as much information. It doesn't matter how many clicks I'm gonna have. Of course, I mean that matters obviously, because if you have more clicks, if you watch my videos, it's gonna support me in a lot of other ways as well, and it always encourages me, because that is a simple that simply means that you guys are loving my sessions, loving my channel, and that is a kind of it acts as an inspiration for me to come back and share my whatever knowledge I have, right? So it matters. But the point is, if you watch those 2 videos as well, I'm sure you will you will find a new person inside you, because you will have a DO technology in your knowledge, and then you will have the ADODB which we are discussing right now. So ultimately you will have a lot of choice. And also if you are somebody who works with the Access VBA, or maybe trying to learn and you were always confused with this DO and ADO, then you can, I think these 3 videos are going to help you a lot, right? Alright, anyways, that's fine now. I have talked a lot. Let me come back to the topic and let's click on the update record. So I'm going to click here. Let's see if it is going to update it. There we go. You see that the macro run, and I put the breakcode here. So now we're going to have what is the first record? It's advanced Excel, and in the combo box it's dummy. Obviously they are not equal, so we will go in the else mode. Then it goes to the next record. Now what is the next record we have? Advanced Excel again. It goes to the next. What is the next item? It's SQL. Again we go to the next. It's not meeting up the criteria. We have the dummies now. So we have the dummies here. So now you can see that we are in the then mode, and now this dummies has to be changed to what? Dummy, right? Which you have written. So you see that current record set does not support updating. This may be a limitation of the provider. Alright, so it says that it cannot update this, and look at the line. This may be a limitation of the provider. Well, in the DO we were able to do that, right? So this, it says that the provider has a limitation, and the provider, we are using this basically we are using the ADODB. So let me just reset the code, and let's see, let's go back to the code and let us see what is the problem. Right, so I think when we have set up the connection, because of we haven't declared anything actually. When you press the comma, the cursor type is also coming here. So you got to make the cursor a dynamic, forward, open, key set, static, whatever you want to do. Now these cursors have the different meaning. I don't want to get in that depth, right? They have their own purpose, right? This generally we use when multiple users are accessing your Access databases. So there you can put a lot of constraints. For example, if I'm fetching some information and at the same time somebody else is also fetching the information, then till the time I'm not through with that query to which I have run to retrieve that information, the other person will have to wait, right? Or maybe if I do some changes in the database, then do you want those changes to reflect immediately for the other user who is also trying to fetch the information, or do you not want to do that? So these are the cursors basically for that, right? But right now I think in the absence of these the cursors, we are getting the problem. So I'm just going to open this as a key set, and then you choose this the add lock batch optimistic. Okay, so that's it. This is what we're going to choose. These are the cursors. I will talk about this in my next the videos as well, and so they will explain, but it just you keep it like this, add open key set. And now I'm going to run this again. Let me just click on this. So let's click on the import book names. The import book names are coming, and we will go ahead and click on the dummy, and then I'm going to update the record. Now let us see if we can do that. So the first record obviously is advanced Excel, which is not dummy. The another one was also, I think, the advanced Excel, which is not equals to the dummy. Now this time we have SQL, it is also not, so it's going in the else mode. This time let me have a look. So what we have got here, dummies, all right, and here we also have the dummies, right? So it should now edit this. Let's see if this is going to throw the error or not, right? Wow, there we go. We can see that because of this cursor, I'm now able to actually update the record, right? All right, I think that was the only one, and now everything will go in the else because let me have a look. So again we have a dummy, all right, so this is also going to be updated as dummy. Number of rows with pending changes exceeded the limit. That's very interesting. Now what's wrong with this? Now here we have dummy, and here we have the dummies. So ideally it should change. So again let me run this. Number of rows with pending changes exceeded the limit. Well, I never actually had anywhere set up the limit, so maybe we can do one thing. Let me close the macro. Let's go back, and we can choose we can change the cursor. Might be because of that. So instead of this batch optimistic, I think we should use the add lock optimistic. Okay, right? So let's go ahead and run the code again. Let me reset everything. There we go. I import the data comes, and let's go ahead and use the dummies, and right here dummy. Let me update the record. Let's have a look here now. So everything will go in the else. Let me run this quickly. What is the next thing here? You have the advanced Excel. Again, it's not gonna come. What is the next thing? Now you have here dummies, which is equals to dummies, so it should update. It has updated. Let's go to the next record. What is the next record? The next record is again dummy, and this time you see that the second time also it updated. Very nice. All right, now we're gonna run this again. What is the next record? The next record is access VBA, obviously, which is not equals to dummy, so it will go in the else mode. Do we still have record? Yes, we still have. What is the next one? Advanced Excel. Again, it will go in the else mode. Let me run this quickly. What is the next record? We have SQL. Again, let's go in the else mode, and then finish. Close the connection. Everything finished. Ends up the macro finished, and now we should be able to see the output. So let's go ahead and check out the access table. So I just go here. So cursors are very important actually in ADO, right? They have their different meanings, and because this video is not actually about all that, so I will talk that very soon, guys, don't worry. So now let me see that. You can see here this was dummies, and this was also dummies, and we have changed that. It is changed. So how beautifully using the ADO technology we actually we controlled, basically you can say that using the Excel forms we controlled the entire access, right? So let me show you. This was the code basically, and somebody actually just posted something from a YouTube channel. So keep posting, guys. It's always good thing. I feel very connected with you, and your questions when they come, it's kind of like, I mean, physically we can't see each other, but it's a bond, which is developed. And the way, sometimes people write me the emails, they appreciate. I mean, I can, you won't believe it. People sometimes write 20-30 lines of email. I mean, so much time they take on their emails. I'm gonna read out one of that email very soon with you, and it was really amazing. What a fantastic feeling I had when I saw that email. And this person actually appreciated the work so much, and he was he wanted to actually he was asking me whether he could use this all YouTube material for teaching, because he is very fond of teaching, and he wanted to he actually if I remember, he was a retired, I think the banker, and he was in his 60s, and this gentleman asked me, just written me that beautiful email and also thanking me for all the content, and he wanted to use that for his, personal coaching. So guys, you're always welcome. The channel is free, and if you can teach somebody, if you can help somebody, maybe you're coaching or you are writing some blogs, please go ahead. Let us spread this information. Let us be awesome. Let us be awesome in our jobs. Let us be awesome in whatever way. I mean, we are using these Excel, VBA, Access, VBA. That's what actually I had a name when I started this channel 2 years back, right? So this is all about this the record set. And now I also want to tell you one more thing. I hope you will still stick to this video. There's another interesting thing we can do with the ADO. If you're not fond of running these record sets, then you can also run the query directly. Yes, you can update the queries as well. In that case, what you need to do is you just don't need these basically the loops, because if you know the access queries, which is like update or select queries, then you can do that job very easily. So I'll tell you what you need to do then. So I have just commented out everything, right? Now what you need to do is you don't have to open any record set, because you don't want to move your cursor on the record set. That's the first thing. Now, so this also, let me just press enter here. This is not required. We have set up the connection. You can see here. Okay. Once you have set up the connection, you can execute the connection using the execute method. If you are fond of reading, or if you Google a lot, you might have seen this connection.execute command as well. This is another method, but in this case, you should be very much thorough with the command called the, whatever the command you will have to use. Now, in this case, for example, we want to update it, the record. So if you go to the, let me just write here, update query, or I just write here, maybe str, a variable. Let's declare the variable here. You don't need now this r and the 2. I can comment this out. So just write here dim str as string. You're gonna make an update query. Now what is the update query? If you don't have any idea, you can go and check out this channel. There's a playlist under the access queries, and I've talked about these queries in detail there. Now basically update query is doing what? Now if you have this table, and for example, we want to update this dummy back to the dummies. How are you going to do that? Not using the programming. You go to the query design, and in the table, you use the table, which is whatever table you have. I have this bookstore. Now you drag this information here, which you want to update. Click on the update. This is under the design, update query, action query. Now what do you want to update to? Well, I want to update this to back to dummies, right? This is what I want to do. Now, so pull this information again, and in the criteria now you're going to write what you want to actually update. So I'm going to update this dummy to dummies. That's how you write it. So if I just run this, you see that it's going to say that you're about to update 2 rows, and if I click on the yes, rows will be updated, and this is what they are talking. This is the first row and this is the second row, right? So this is the front end of this query. You can see here, which we the front end, actually the access. But if you go to the view, and if you want to find it out how the query is written, this is how the query is written. That is your the update query, where you update what you want to update. You want to update the table name, which is bookstore, and then in the table what you want to update is bookstore is the name of the table, and with the table name you get to write using the dot operator the field name. So I want to write the book name equals to dummies, where my book name is actually equals to dummy. So in other words, this query this query works like this: update, then you write the table name, and then you write set, and then you write the table name with dot table field name, okay, field name, which becomes equals to, for example, a, where, so this has to be a, wherever you have this table name again comes, and then the field name comes, equals to X. So that means it says that wherever you find this field's name equals to X, please update it to change it to A. That's how you write the query, right? So I'm just going to copy this and I'm gonna put it here, the str. So I'm going to write here str equals to, and you paste this entire query, right? You don't need the bracket here, right? You don't need these brackets basically, because this is not the SQL view. We are talking about the programming. In the programming, you will simply write like this, no colon at the end as well. Put it with everything within the quotes. So let me just put it everything within the quotes. So basically, this is how the query would look like, right? Now, of course, this query has some problems, and I'm going to actually discuss that with you. So how you're going to structure this query? Wherever you see these the numbers, the values which you want to update, they should not be going to be look like this. You will have to do some adjustment. So what you're going to do, guys, you just put the quote here and join it with the double quote here, so that we should have our double quote here, and then again this double quote we will join it with this, right? So I'm putting basically the double quote. So double quote should come within the double quote, two double quotes, so that this dummy is this is a value. So for the value we will have to write it like this, and then where the bookstore dot book name equals to dummy. So again the same thing you will do here. So you are going to use the and then use this double quote, again double quote, and put it within the double quote, and then again here put the and double quote and double quote, right? And make sure that this also should be and this should be completing here. So everything is put it within the double quotes here. Then you have the dummy, which is surrounded by these double quotes, because these are the values which we need to update. So that's how your query is gonna look like, right? So here also this entire portion is closed using the double quote, and then where again we are concatenating it, right? Now if I just go ahead and run this query, let me increase the size of the font so that you shouldn't have any problem. So let me just make it maybe 11, right? I hope now you can see it clearly how it is. So when this query is gonna work, the same thing will happen. Same query which you have run in the Access, that's gonna work, that's gonna run the same way, okay? But now this time it's gonna work from the Excel. So let me just close that. So there we go. Let us run the query. Variable not defined. Well, you don't have to close actually RS, because RS is no more we are using. Only the connection will get closed, and so I hope this is done. Let's go ahead, and you see that this is your query. This is how it looks like. Let's have a look. Update bookstore, set bookstore dot book name equals to, and then you have the quotes and then dummies, and where I mean it's a long actually syntax, so that's fine I guess. Let's just run this and let's see if we have some problem or not. There we go, and this is going to execute this query. There we go, connection closed, and let's quickly go ahead and check out if this is done or not, right? So there are there is so much of things in the programming, guys. So VBA and Access is wonderful. You can see here that I got it back as a dummy. So is it working or not? I forgot actually. What we have done is so we wanted to actually update it as dummies, right? And wherever we have the dummy, so I think it didn't work actually, isn't it? Because I should have seen here the dummies. So let me just go ahead and see that what's wrong with this. There might be some problem in the query. Let me just run this, though the macro is running. That's very strange. So set book name equals to dummies, where the bookstore dot book name equals to dummy. So definitely we should be able to see here. Just open this again, have a look. It's not working. It is not coming, but it's not working. So we'll have to take a look why it not convert to the dummies. So let's do one thing. Let's put this code in the watch code. Let's have a look why the query, there might be some syntax error. I'm not sure actually, because this is a live project I'm working. and let's see now. So whatever the error will come, we will see. So that's how it looks like. Update bookstore, set bookstore.bookname equals to, it is equals to and I think the problem is here actually, because these and should not come here, I'm afraid, because this is ideally it should have looked like update bookstore set bookstore.bookname equals to dummies, where bookstore.bookname equals to, you know, dummy. So these and which are coming, we'll have to see that these ands why they are coming. All right, so I got the point. We have a problem here. It's a very serious problem. And should not come because and actually is an operator, and we are just using it to, you know, combine the data. So okay, so I think the problem is I just forgot to put this here, the double quotes, right? I should have actually written the double quotes here. Yeah, because these are the you know, text entries. So now let me have a look again. I think there's some problem because we are not able to find it out. The color of the line is saying clearly that there is an error. I think that the problem is actually, I just realized, basically that's fine. You're gonna put this you know, this dummies, but this has to be a single quote actually, guys. You're gonna write this as a single quote, and you're gonna write this as a single quote within the double quotes. That's how the SQL statement is going to be generated. I just missed that step, so we're gonna write here the single quote, right? And once you have the single quote here, let me remove first of all these double quotes. You don't require the double quotes actually. And let's have a look here. I'm just going to delete this as well, and we're gonna put some space here after the equals to sign, and here also some space. That's it. Let me click outside, and the line actually is not showing any error. You can see that the line color did not change. So let's have a look here. I'm going to run this F8 again. Variable not defined. So which variable? All right, so let's just put that in the double quotes, not a problem. And let's just put that in the double quotes. Basically, I will have to see. Let me see. So let's read this. Update bookstore set bookstore bookname equals to dummies, and you can see here these single quotes are coming. Perfect. I think now the query is going to work. That's what actually we were missing. Where bookstore.bookname equals to again dummy and the single quotes, right? And then of course outside this, you know, there is a double quote. There's already double quote which you have written, so that's fine. I mean, this perfectly works fine. Before the update also we have a quote, and after the dummy also we have a quote, but the important part is we have the single quotes here. So now let me run this. There we go, and now this should execute. It should not only give me the execution but also the results, and there we go, the connection, no error came. So let's go ahead and let us see if we have got the now the dummies back from the dummy. So I just go ahead and open this. It took a little time, more than my expectations, but that's fine, you know, because these things trouble you a lot. So thank God we have a good session here. We had now troubleshooted. All right, there we go, guys. You can see here we got the dummies. Perfect. So the code actually is working. Perfect. That's how, guys, you're gonna do it, right? So if I just now again change back to, let's say for example, now I want this back to dummy, and from the dummies, it will be very interesting if I just go ahead and run this. Okay, so if I just run the code again, let me run this code quickly. The code ran, and I go to the axis, and I just go ahead and refresh all. Let's have a look. There we go. You can see that it is actually changed to dummy. Very nice. You can see that. So this is the another method. Now, just in case if you want to pass the variables, you don't want to use these dummy, right? For example, you want to use their the form controls, then you can set up the variables. For example, you can write here that, for example, the var1 as string, and then dim var2 as string, right? This is what you can do. And now in this line, then let me just change, because then if you're using it through the variables, you are not supposed to use the double quotes. So this double quote will not come here, and here I'm just going to write here, suppose var2, which is the new value, and just remove the double quotes. Rest the code will remain same, right? Single quotes are must. These quotes are must. Always make sure that you should be using. So here I'm going to again use the var1. Okay, now obviously var1 and var2, you can define that what exactly they are equals to. So you can write here that var1, for example, equals to your user form or whatever the control you have. So my user form name is 1, and then suppose that is going to be the combo box the value which we have selected. So that's going to be the var1. So I write here value, and then what is going to be the var2. So the var2 is going to be the user form 2, sorry, user form 1 dot txt box dot value. So whatever values you will add there, that is going to be updated here. So I can put the the breakcode here, and I can show you how it is going to work. But first of all, let us just put the code here. That's basically your code, right? So now I guess we are done with that, and we created this user form. That was my mistake. Let me show you in this. The form, basically the sheet name has to be changed. I'm using the form sheet, right? And this is coming from this form sheet actually, right? So we should have actually used a sheet 1 because we worked on the previous 2 projects. So that was the thing actually. So let's close that. So sheet 1 is perfect. Now we should be able to use that code. Let me hit back, import the new names. Let's have a look. You can see here that we got the Excel here, right? So once we have the Excel, I just want to change that to learn Excel. Let's hit on the update record. Let me hit this as well. There we go. Now let me just close this, and let's have a look in the database, and we're going to find it out whether the values are changed or not. So I just hit on this, and you can see that learn Excel is done. Perfect, right? So that's it. Now guys, I have taken a lot of time today of you, but I hope that the session has given you a lot of in-depth knowledge. So this was basically the code which we have prepared, right? So first we use the ADO with the record, then we remove the record and we simply use the SQL command, right? Because if you know the SQL commands, the select queries and the action queries, you can make your code very easy. I mean, you can make the code very fast as well. And this is also going to be very fast. This is gonna work very fast because the query will action on all the items in simple, one step. Whereas in this record, you're moving the record. So if you have a lot of records, this may take time. So anyways, I wanted to give you all the options. So this is how you can directly use the variables. This is how you can make it static, because this dummy and dummies, if you write it, it will always be dummy and dummies. But using the variables, whatever the value user can, is going to choose from the front end Excel, he can choose that, right? So that's it for now, and I hope you had enjoyed this. Let me know how do you see this, and if you have any comments, please post your comments as well. Thank you so much.